The night sky turns red, and for a moment, the world grows quiet. People step outside, but this time, it feels different. Not curiosity, something deeper. A silence that presses on the soul. Phones rise, cameras record, but no one can quite explain the weight in the air. The moon hangs above, darkened, bleeding red across the sky. Beautiful, yes, but also unsettling, almost like a warning no one asked for. Some call it rare, others call it science. But deep inside, a quieter voice asks a more dangerous question. What if this means something? Because the Bible never described the heavens as empty, it described them as a canvas, where God writes signs that humanity often ignores until it's too late. And one of the most mysterious signs ever recorded is the blood moon. Not just a phenomenon, not just an eclipse, but a signal, a line drawn between what is and what is coming next. Scripture speaks of moments when the sky itself becomes a message, when the ordinary rhythm of creation is interrupted, when heaven whispers and the earth trembles. But here is the part most people never stop to ask. Not what the blood moon is, but what follows after it appears. Because in the Bible, signs are never the end. They are the beginning of something far more serious. They are warnings, announcements, a countdown without a clock. The prophet once wrote that the moon would turn to blood before a day unlike any other, a day of reckoning, of awakening, of truth no one can escape. Notice that carefully. Before, not during, which means the blood moon is not the event. It's the alarm. And alarms don't ring without reason. In another vision, the sky doesn't just change color, the earth shades, the sun darkens, stars fall, and suddenly, humanity reacts in a way it never has before. The powerful hide, the rich panic, the strong tremble, not because of the sky itself, but because of what it reveals. For a brief moment, the illusion shatters, the illusion that we are in control. And in that moment, people realize something terrifying. God is not distant, judgment is not a myth, and time is not endless. But here is the shocking truth many miss. The Bible never tells believers to be afraid of these signs. While the world panics, those who understand are told to do the opposite. Stand up, lift your head, because what brings fear to the world signals hope to the faithful. The same sign, two completely different meanings. Fear for those unprepared, awareness for those who are. And that is where everything changes. Because after the sign comes a moment of decision. Ignore it and continue as if nothing happened. Mock it and bury the discomfort. Or stop and finally ask the question that matters. Am I ready? Not ready with theories, not ready with predictions, but ready in my heart. Because the Bible never says the world suddenly becomes peaceful after these signs. It says the opposite. Chaos grows louder. Truth becomes harder to recognize. Deception spreads faster than ever. And yet, in the middle of all of it, there remains a group of people who do not break. They don't follow fear. They don't bow to pressure. They remain steady, awake, anchored, not because the world is calm, but because they know who is still in control. So if one night the moon turns red again, don't just look at the sky. Look deeper, because the sign was never meant to be admired. It was meant to wake you up, a reminder that history is moving forward, that nothing written by God will fail, and that every person, sooner or later, must decide where they stand. So when that moment comes, don't panic. Prepare, not by chasing signs, but by walking closely with God now. Because the greatest readiness is not knowing what will happen next. It's knowing you are not lost when it does. If you feel this message, don't ignore it. Because sometimes, the sky doesn't just show beauty. Sometimes it warns, and sometimes the warning is not loud. No thunder, no voice from the clouds, just a quiet shift that only those who are watching will notice. Because not every sign forces attention. Some simply reveal who is paying attention and who isn't. And that's what makes moments like this so dangerous. Not the sign itself, but how easily it can be ignored. Life continues. People scroll, laugh, sleep, plan tomorrow, as if nothing in the sky has anything to do with them. But the Bible describes this pattern clearly. A world so distracted that even when heaven speaks, it sounds like silence, until suddenly it isn't. Because after the warning comes a shift. Not always instant, not always obvious, but undeniable. Situations begin to change. Pressure begins to rise. Things that once felt stable start to crack. And people begin asking questions they once avoided. Why is everything changing? Why does this feel different? Why do I feel unprepared? Because deep down, the soul recognizes what the mind tries to deny. That time is moving forward, and something greater is unfolding. And in that moment, two paths appear again. Run from the truth, or turn toward it. Hide in distraction, or step into awareness. And this is where everything becomes personal. Because the signs are not just about the world. They are about you, your heart, your choices, your direction. Because no one stands neutral forever. Eventually, everyone chooses. And the most dangerous lie is this: I still have time. Because the Bible never promises that. It only tells us to be ready. Ready before the moment comes. Ready before the door closes. Ready before what feels distant becomes reality. And yet, even in all of this, there is hope. Not a weak hope, not wishful thinking, but a steady, unshakable truth that no matter how dark the sky becomes, God is still on the throne. That no matter how chaotic the world feels, He has not lost control, and that those who trust Him will not be abandoned. That is the message hidden inside the warning. Not just judgment, but invitation. Not just fear, but a chance to return. Because every sign carries a question. Will you ignore this, or will you wake up? So if the sky ever turns red again, don't just watch it. Let it search you. Let it shake what has been asleep inside you. Let it remind you that this life is not random, that your story matters, and that your time is not endless. So choose wisely. Choose while you still can. And above all, stay ready.